Is Oregon back among the elite of college football? Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down the game we love each and every day with the best bloggers, broadcasters, and writers in the industry. And you've seen this guy a number of times. We have some great conversation with Ryan Winter from Sports Chat 503. Ryan, how you doing today?
Great, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Always appreciate the conversation. It's always good stuff with you.
Thanks,
and those Ducks, it's all over the internet in regards to anything that I look at that's previewing the season, that this team should be right in the thick of things in the Pac-12 North and kind of that chic pick for a possible college football playoff spot.
Yeah, I think it all starts with that first game. You know, everybody's really excited these years of trying to get that first game, a big opponent. Auburn's going to be a heck of a game. I've been watching a ton of Auburn film, and I think that's going to be a great game. I'm maybe as confident as some of my other fellow Duck brethren out there that they think they're going to win this game. I tend to think it's going to be a really, really close game, but we're really excited out here. I mean, you brought back a great offensive line. You obviously bring back Justin Herbert. People love the quarterback position, and that's a guy that's going to be able to get a lot of national news. And if you have national coverage at Oregon, you're in the thick of it. You know, we tried to build a brand out here, tried to be creative with the uniforms and all that kind of stuff. And now they're just trying to just play football and keep up with the rest of the nation. And you're right about trying to be able to compete with Washington. I think Washington's still the best team in the Pac-12. You got to have to compete with them. They're coming off of a Rose Bowl, and they keep reloading with recruiting as well. Oregon's recruiting has done a great job, but Oregon beat Washington last year by a fluke field goal, so it's not like you're running over teams. And you had some terrible losses late in the season last year that kind of kicked you out of any sort of real good bowl contention. So we're excited. You bring back some great freshmen that had a great year last year. Your running backs were both freshmen last year. Both of them did very well. Both those guys are going to come back fresh. You got the senior quarterback. You brought in a wide receiver from Penn State, Juwan Johnson, who looks very, very good in the offense. So things are exciting, man.
Yeah, we'll grind this down a little bit more, but looking at that Pac-12 North Division, it has slowly, with the elevation of Washington State in particular, but now Cal is becoming difficult to deal with as well. Justin Wilcox doing a nice job there. That outside of Oregon State, there are no gimmies in that division. It's an extremely, extremely competitive, strong division with no clear favorite. About 4 teams that could vie for a division championship. Ryan, let's dive a little deeper into the offense. So, yeah, the offensive line, I'm looking at 150 plus career starts.
Yeah.
All sorts of guys coming back that are really good.
Yeah, it all starts. I think Calvin Throckmorton is just an amazingly versatile offensive line. If you really want to get into offensive line technique, you know, it obviously is different between the center and the tackle and to the guard position. This is a guy that's played all 3 of those positions. He can play on the left side. He can play on the right side. Jake Hansen's the center. These guys have all played, like you're saying, a tremendous amount of snaps. These guys have played. They've been healthy for the most part throughout their time. And then you bring in this Penei Sewell. This kid was unbelievable. They think he could be one of the best offensive linemen. He could be like a Haloti Ngata type at Oregon, where he just is so much better than the rest of the guys out there at such an early age. It's just dominating what he can do. And really felt the loss when he got hurt last year. And then obviously there's kids who come in, you know, younger kids they're gonna find their way in here. You can't go 3 or 4 years without some injury. It's going to happen at some point. And when that happens, hopefully you have enough depth to where your all-star offensive lineman can actually, you know, be replaced by somebody just as good, if not better, in the future.
So those guys protect the franchise. The guys that make the franchise look good, they dropped way too many passes last year. There's a tabulation I see at 52 drops in 13 games. Dylan Mitchell had a remarkable season, set a school record with almost 1,200 yards receiving, but otherwise a number of playmakers like Johnny Johnson still in play. You mentioned Juwan Johnson off the top coming in from Penn State, where one game or one particular series, he would look amazing, make the type catches that you would see Odell Beckham Jr. make, and then he would drop the easy ones. And people really like this Micah Pittman coming into the program as well.
Absolutely. I think the offense, you know, really you need to be able to spread if you have a great quarterback like Herbert, you're going to need to be able to spread that ball around. And they just were so content with handing the ball off. Man, the people in the crowd were getting so upset with the fact that you're not throwing the ball around, but they couldn't trust anybody. Half the time they got, like you just said, Mark, half the time they dropped the ball. And so you locked in on Dillon Mitchell. That was your number one guy by far above anybody else. And then hopefully you're going to have some growth from guys like Johnny Johnson. But I do think that Brendan Schooler is going to get some looks. He's been in the program long enough. He's going to get some big time catches. He won't add a ton of catches to the repertoire, but he'll get a key third down here and there. But hopefully Micah Pittman is the real deal. We were zooming in on him big time at the spring game and at the spring practice, and that's a guy that looks real good. So hopefully with, Jalen Redd coming back, hopefully he's a little bit more seasoned, Johnny Johnson, obviously, and then we can possibly get some long touchdowns like we've been used to seeing at Oregon.
And if you secure those catches and combine that with a similar running game than what you had last year, which there's no reason to believe that the running game won't be just as good, if not better, with tons of experience coming back that are, not necessarily elite backs, but CJ Verdell with 1,000 yards, Travis Dye, a really good player. Those guys gained almost 1,800 yards between them last year. The running game should be exceptional.
Yeah, and that all starts up front with the offensive line. Obviously, we all know that getting a lane is really important in college football. But being able to get to that second level and be able to block a linebacker, be able to cover that safety when they come crashing up against that, because everybody knows you're going to run the ball. It's kind of like what Stanford was doing a 3 years ago when everybody zigged, they zagged. When everybody went to the spread, they went to the old school pro style. They ran as many offensive linemen as they could. I kind of feel like that's what Cristobal wants to do. I think he wants to run power as much as he can, and then he wants to suck people into that defense and then try to throw over the top like we used to watch in the SEC for years and years in the 80s and 70s.
This offense averaged 35 points a game. That was good for 25th in the nation out of 130 teams. Nothing wrong with that. You can only imagine, had they hung on to the ball, that maybe the franchise quarterback would – I'm sure that affected him to some degree, even if he acted like a leader, did all the right things, and knows his own talent and says, hey, we got to play the next play. He dropped that one. Just do the same. Do your job. Deliver it again. That's got to wear on a kid. And you're going to have some drops, but they just can't be multiplied at that pace. But Justin Herbert, you got to think that, man, hang on the ball for him. Offensive line, running game. You got the NFL quarterback that, man, this thing could be really special.
Yeah.